Yo, what's up? Welcome, everybody. Taxi is currently getting his microphone situation squared away. Dale, what's good, my guy? While Carlos Taxi is getting set up, and since Dale's here, I'm going to talk about something that no one wants to hear about. My first round of my match play yesterday, it was sick. I was down 1 through 14 holes. Played the last 4, 1 under par, to snatch the W, baby. Par, birdie, par, buckets.
All right.
It was sick.
It was not your fault.
It rarely is. It rarely is, Carlos. It really is. Yeah.
Do some Discord thing.
Yeah, no worries. I think I might have to turn you up a little bit because usually I have the desktop turned down for.
Just get closer.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right. Cool.
I was so we're already live. I was just telling Dale about my match yesterday because he popped in and was like, "Yo," it was sick.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Was it like a So it's like team event.
Yeah. So match play is like 1v1. So there's like a big bracket of everybody at the club that wants to play in it. It's like 100 guys for mine.
So you beat the first guy.
I beat the first guy. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought you were like playing like a cut type event. And
no, not like that.
Yeah, I was like super hyped for you.
Oh no, that'd be sick. I'm not that good, but you know, it is fun to. All right, so Dale says you're still quiet. I'm turning you all the way up. Okay. So.
Let me just see my.
Let's see if that can.
My own settings.
That can
I have
work.
Some more room in this. Wait.
It's it feels weird not having music on in the background. I feel like I always have music on, and now I'm like, no music. No music.
Yeah. Is that your own decision or?
No, I pay for this site. I pay. I forget what it's even called. Hold on, let me pull it off screen so nobody sees my login. But it's through Epidemic Sound. That's what it is. Yeah, I can't play it at the same time because I have to have you on through desktop. So if I played that, it would just blast over you. But I pay like $100 and some a year for it, and it's royalty free songs. So every time when I was playing, I used to play just the instrumentals to like popular songs. Mm-hmm. And every time on YouTube or Twitch, I would get a copyright violation. That
AI algorithm.
I know those bastards.
Let me get into the stream so I can read the chat too. Because
yeah, good idea.
I feel left out.
Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to go over what's happened since I last streamed. So it was funny because, we stream at the start of the week and you have this nice little move up into the 50 day, and it looked like we had this nice channel reclaim. I'm getting some echo. Where am I getting the echo from? Hold on.
Oh, wait. Maybe I'm too close to the microphone.
Well, it'd be your reverb. The speaker coming back on the reverb. Hold on. Let me see if I can. There. I turned on echo cancellation for you, so that should do it. Mm-hmm. And then literally we've just kind of shit the bed. Like the next day we tried to continue jumping out, and we've just kind of turned around. So I don't see anything that suggests to me that, we're out of the woods. This is nice. It stopped where it should have. I've talked, for years now about how this turn point is always an area of support, and hey, look where it stopped today so far.
The A-line.
Yeah.
Classic A-line.
Well, there's the A-line and the V-mid. This one's technically a V-mid, but it is near the A-line break, so that's also true. So you're right in the same area. But yeah, so it's, we're sitting here. This is a full day underneath the line so far. under the weekly trend, but it hasn't closed on the weekly yet. So I'm hoping that we get some additional strength here because the S&P had a shit day yesterday and rebounded. The NQ just continues to like hang out up high. There's nothing really that says to me that like, the general market at large thinks that this thing's going away.
Yeah. I mean, it's a weird situation because like right now we're serving a state of flux because everyone is like aware that AI is like the next big thing,
Right.
but there's winners and losers. Like there's a good example. Like there's this web page people used to use where you basically subscribed and they had like a Chinese guy solve your math problems for you.
Okay.
It was I don't know. Uh, look at Google college cheating website or something like that.
College. I'm going to do it off screen. By the way, Yanni, I'm glad that we're on. Yanni said, I'm glad you're streaming. I have a 4-hour drive. So, good, dude.
Oh, we have 4 hours for this.
Well, I don't know if we're going that long, but we can get you down the road a little bit. Okay. College cheating. What was it called?
Web page company. It
Web
should give you the
page
right
company.
thing.
So I'm looking for a news article.
Something like check. You're looking for. See if you can find the actual website because it's like an actual legit business because they pass themselves up as like learning learning thing. Look at the first few.
Cheating companies hacked websites at MIT.
Top 8 websites that students use to cheat.
I hate just clicking on random shit like this, dude.
Oh, it's CVS. It's not bad. We're just looking for a list. Wikipedia. No, that's bad. No, that's a bad list. Of course, CVS.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't trust that shit. Oh, Christ. All right, this is getting out of hand. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. We don't need to look at it.
Yeah.
But so what you're saying is they used to...
So they used to hire, like, outsource some Asian guy to do your answers. It's like live Quora, right? So you're like,
cool.
And what people would do is that they would get a subscription, and during the exam, they would call this guy, basically, and tell them the questions so they will give them the answers, right?
Yeah.
And in the pandemic, this stuff boomed because everyone was using it to cheat from home.
Yeah, for sure.
But the thing is that with AI, since ChatGPT came out, their subscriptions just tanked. They just went to like zero.
Well, yeah. I mean, why would you? That makes perfect sense to me because why the hell would you do that? I can just go ask ChatGPT.
And they're a publicly traded stock, and their whole business model just went kaput.
It's publicly traded. That's how big this fucking place got.
Yeah, they were shorting the stocks. That's why it got famous because, it got high, like super high during the pandemic.
I mean, nice for that. Van City says, morning from Canada, land of the turd-do? Turdu? I don't know what that means. But good to have you here. That's kind of an interesting one. Turdu?
Chegg. It's called Chegg. Chegg.
Chegg. With a G. Okay, let me pull that shit up.
Yeah, on May 2nd, it crashed 49% after a CEO said, like, yeah, we're fucked.
Chegg Inc. Oh. Dude, look at this. Oh, my God. Yeah, I had a run there, dude. $115. Now it's $8.
Yep.
And
it's going bust.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a straight gap down.
Yeah, that was
May 1st to May 2nd. It literally gapped down 50%.
That's a cheap GPT gap down.
Yikes. Yeah, I mean, all right. So obviously this is a crypto show, and that is because of AI. And you brought this up saying everybody knows AI is the way that it's going, but like, I'm still like, I pay for the whatever on Chat GPT, the Plus, mainly because I want to screw around with 4. But like, are you following the crypto AI projects like Render and shit like that? And like, are you excited about those as well, or do you think that like its final form hasn't come out yet?
So I'm in the crowd, like trying to figure out how to make blockchain stuff with AI because, like, there's several things going on, right? And the thing is that a lot of people will slap an AI sticker on top of things and call it
Yeah,
AI.
for sure.
But there's like a few avenues that I see this developing in the sense of how this blockchain and AI like sort of mesh together. And one of them is the fact that like OpenAI is a private company, right?
Yep.
And they basically own the best brain in the world,
Okay.
right? And they're leasing it to everyone.
Right.
You could argue that that brain belongs to humanity.
Yeah. I mean, all right.
I'm getting like a bit like I'm going way far down the line, right? But it's like a public. You could call it a public good, right? And there's ways to like set it up that way, where it was a decentralized protocol, then it's ownerless, so now it's owned by everyone. Now it's a fairer way to do it. And the thing is, chat like OpenAI can stay private, but if someone figures this out and makes a decentralized like large language model, that model would in theory become the biggest model in the planet eventually because more people
Yeah.
will be working on it.
What, I mean, look, and like they have to know that, and I'm sure that that's what they're anticipating will happen. It's not like, I mean, they did something very very cool, but it's not like any number of smart people like Elon or people that have a ton of money aren't going to be like, all right, let's just fucking do our own, and we'll iterate on it how we want, and make it for ourselves. Now you're going to get 4, 5, 6 of them out there that are all really good. It's going to take time, but then like just like anything,
But
you
that's
know,
already what's happening. Like there's
yeah,
probably 5 or 6 valid models out there.
right,
And the thing is, who do you trust? Like, there's one from the Saudi government. Like, what did they train that on? And it's actually better than ChatGPT because they actually like clean their data more, so
yeah.
they have better data, better outputs. And this is gonna be like a little bit of an arms race. And the thing is that the guy that made ChatGPT is Altman guy. He already is in the crypto game. Like this world, you know about WorldCoin?
Well, I mean, I've noticed it on my screener being up, so
Like
uh,
he raised 100 million for WorldCoin.
well, there you go.
But it's
I didn't know that, but yeah, I mean, that's
I don't think they have a token yet, but you can Google WorldCoin.
looking at. There's something.
It's the orb thingy.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah. MX, that's fucking hilarious. I mean, dude, just render, just sitting here. People are just like so pumped about render.
Render is I like render. I mean it's going up. And the thing is that um compute is one big resource that people have to figure out. Because that's the thing, they're selling compute. And that's one big business
Right.
where like you enable like someone like me saying something wild like let's raise $100,000 to train one of these models I'm just talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a part of, and then there's Ocean, which is like all these like data storage are like private repos.
Sure.
Um,
By the way,
so
Argio chimed in and said it was 150 million raised for World,
right,
not 100. So that's a hell of a lot of money.
yeah, and it's a trip. Like WorldCoin is the thing they want to scan everyone's eyeballs with.
Oh Christ. Yeah. So you know what, man? Like that. There's that's a. All right. The world's not ready for that. It just isn't.
It's not. I mean, there's a lot of pushback. Like even within the crypto community, like the dev community is like that's weird.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this Sam Altman guy, like he's pretty smart.
No,
And
look, no doubt. And you know what's funny about that too? I told you this before. I'm one of those guys that like doesn't give a shit about like, you know, people looking at like my browsing history and like giving me targeted ads. I don't mind it, okay? Because like I'm not looking at like crazy shit. I'm just looking at stuff that interests me. And if you can add value to that, I'm open to it,
right.
right? So it's like I don't mind that. And I think I'm in the minority. I think most people are like, hey, fuck you, man. You should only get what I tell you. And I'm like, you know, look, whatever. If I really wanted to, I could go to something that was better at protecting all my shit. I just don't care.
Right.
But that like retina scan or whatever it is, Argio says they're already doing it in some African countries in exchange for coins in the future to be able to try that, which is fucking crazy. I mean, obviously, like the risk's worth it because like, what are you risking? Who gives a shit?
I mean, the thing is that like the problem they're trying to solve for is actually a very real problem, which is called civil resistance. And civil resist, you know what it is?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that because I mean, look, I went through like the ID, Everest ID, and what they were trying to do.
Right, right.
Like, I'm assuming you're going down the same path where it's like, actual identity and yada
Yeah,
yada.
that sort
Yeah,
of stuff. Like,
yeah,
for example, the whole January, like, U.S. election thingy
yeah,
would be solved if we had really good civil resistance, because you would be able to tell that everyone who voted actually voted, and beyond a doubt, those people actually exist
yeah,
and voted,
yeah.
and then you could do a revote of those same people, and then you could have the exact same result. So you could turn voting to something like you could vote like every 45 minutes if you wanted to,
Yeah.
because
Which
now you don't have to prove.
for sure, and like on a small level, I think that makes a ton of sense. Like you're turning a cruise ship isn't even the right thing to say for the United States. Like you're turning a fucking island around. Like it's really that is just something that is never going to happen in a speedy fashion in the U.S. However, if now all of a sudden some like a country in Africa or an island somewhere or
I mean, I
Papua
don't
New
think
Guinea, like who the fuck knows, and like you actually get an
the thing
example of it
is,
working, maybe that speeds things
I
up.
don't think that's how it necessarily has to happen, but rather have it happen for something like a game
Mm.
where people are like super organized and voting, like it's super viral and everyone is doing it, and then you have this sudden realization that this works better than our voting system. Then why don't we start voting like this? And then you could have a fucking. I mean, you could reach consensus pretty quickly once you get enough people to realize that it's better,
Yeah.
right? Imagine if like, dude, imagine if like everyone was like riding horses somewhere, like, and you came in with a car. People would like hate you and tell you that it would never happen, that they would always use horses. But then they tried the car and it's actually better, and they don't die and they don't have to feed it and it doesn't shit.
Dude, no. Look, believe me, I get it. But that's also like in some respects, that's like the Native Americans when the U.S. was taking over everything, or like whatever was just moving west, being like, "Hey, cars are sweet. You guys should build some." And they're like, "The fuck you talking about, man? We only got horses. Like, how are we going to build our own cars?" Right? So it is like one of those deals where, yes, I agree, but like you don't just go from horses to cars. You go for like, all right, so what did you do to build this? What's the science behind engineering? How did you get this done in a timely fashion on budget where it wasn't the most expensive thing ever? How does the economics work? Like there's so many different nuances to that. Like I certainly at a high level, you would look at it and say, yes, this is a better way to travel, but it's not something you just snap your fingers and then all of a sudden you're fucking in it, right? Like
Right.
it takes time to like get how do so where did the technology come from? How do we know it's fail proof? Has there been any failures? I mean, like, think about space travel for a second. I was thinking about this the other day. Because like I saw that article, or I'm sorry, there was an interview Elon did not long ago where we talked about like within like a quarter or two, I forget what year it was, both SpaceX and Tesla were on the verge of bankruptcy, like 2 quarters in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the richest man in the world now, or at least was before he bought fucking Twitter. And so like he literally was within like 6 months of both of these companies going away.
Right.
And he was talking about SpaceX. They failed their first 3. They were on their 4th launch, and they didn't have money for a 5th, and so they had everything riding on that 4th one. But he was talking about that trial and error aspect, where it's like it's kind of like flight in the U.S. Every space shuttle crash, I mean, literally was thousands and thousands of mathematicians and engineers going, "What the fuck happened? So how do we make sure it never happens again?" Even what you're talking about to be 100% true, or is 100% true, that it will probably eventually be the way. I need to see some cataclysmic failure and how that we learned from that to make sure that it never happened again. Like you would never see an established nation just like jump in, or even like
What do you mean?
even Call of Duty, dude. Even like Call of Duty, some shit like that. Like a big franchise would never wade in immediately without like some tremendous stress testing, right?
And that's what we're trying to do. And the thing is that first, like, the systems we are using are catastrophically failing right now. Like, for example, I'm from Ecuador, right?
Yeah.
And my country just basically went into like a political stalemate where the president was getting sued by the Congress, and then he decided to call this law that basically dissolved the government and called for new elections. Like it's like Biden saying, "I quit," and then
like
everyone.
right now? Is this right now? Is this in the
Yeah,
past?
this just happened last week.
Holy shit! I thought you guys were getting better down there, man.
I mean, the thing is that there's a complete collapse of the relationship between politics and real life.
Yeah, reality
everywhere.
for sure. Yeah.
So that like they're arguing about like bullshit like identity and like stuff that doesn't really matter when like people are just starving to death and they don't have like means to get a real life. I just read a fucking great blog post today, like just summed the whole thing up. I'm gonna send it to you, but we can. I mean, we can either like react to it on the stream. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Later.
Send it to me. I'll open it up.
Um,
While you're doing that, by the way, Link, first off, resubscribe, 14 months. You're my dog. Thank you, Link Marines. And when you subscribe, you can like put a note in, like, you know, woo, resubscribe, or like people do all sorts of funny shit. He put his, I'm officially bored. And
no, he's not bored at us. He's bored about the market.
Oh no, yeah, no, I don't.
I felt bad for a minute. I felt bad for a minute there.
Yeah. And then he was like, has crypto ever been this boring before I get in 2020? And Dale, our resident OG, came in and he was like, yeah, it was 2019 and it was brutal. And then Link says, just black swan our asses already.
Yeah, please. I sent you the link. Did you get it?
Yeah, I'm opening up right now. I'm trying to not have it fucking blind me with this flashbang. God, I hate white backgrounds. Who are these people that don't have it as a fucking option?
Didn't you have like a thing that made everything?
Yeah, but I literally uninstalled the extension because I was like, it never ever happens. You know what I mean? Like usually there's always a place where you, holy shit, dude, there's like a 40-page article.
You can read until you get bored. It's really good.
Wow.
You can just skim it or whatever. It's really, 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 really good.
All right, well,
it's not that long. 12 minutes.
I'll do you one better. Are
you gonna get ChatGPT to summarize?
Fuck yeah, dude.
All right, sure. I mean, that's actually part like it's poignant. Like,
that's so lame. It gave me the too long bullshit.
Just go over. It's 12 minutes.
I'm not gonna, dude. I don't mind the 12 minutes. I mind that's blinding me and everyone else. That's what. Oh my God.
Blinding you? Come on.
Dude, this is brutal.
I mean, have like, you'll get over it. There's actually like, do you have? There's a setting I like a lot that makes your screen more yellow, more warm.
Yeah, I do that. That's on, dude. Like I'd never ever have my computer on without that.
I mean, you should go to a psychologist then. That's some other issues.
It's not, dude. It's not. I have very fucked up eyes. I badly harmed my eyes in college, and I've been dealing with it ever since. That's why.
Stream with put some sunglasses on. You look super nice on stream.
You know what's funny? I actually got like lightly tinted regular glasses for exactly that. That's how bad it is. By the way, Dale comes in. Was there two sell-offs in these cycles? One, the world was ending. Two, people get bored. He says sell-offs, quotes. Obviously, the second isn't as bad, but people get bored and just go do other stuff. Link Brian says bullish on ChatGPT. Yeah, amen. Dale says also, Jared. Well, how do I get the summer 2020 vibes right now? So, summer 2020 vibes was DeFi summer though, dude. Like, I don't feel that. I don't feel that. I mean, that was the original DeFi summer. I mean,
but it started to feel like that after some like key events happened, because that's sort of the thing that. In 2020, you had the compound fork, mania at the start. So first, compound launched the yield, like they invented the yield farm, right?
Right. Yeah.
Which is like the yield farm,
right? And everybody's just been forking it ever since.
Yeah, and then I was like around back then, and it was like Uniswap V1, and it was like proof of concept bullshit, right? That was like. Let's copy Vitalik's blog post and paste it on Solidity, see what happens, right?
Right.
And
no doubt.
And then when V2 happened, then they became like a real cool product, and then people started going ham with them.
Yeah.
And that's DeFi summer.
Yeah.
And then the lending platforms, and now it was a big deal, and TVL go up. but you sort of like need one of those breakthroughs of
Right. And
like
I have to imagine, like, really what somebody should do if they were smart, they would train an AI engine or some shit to just
yeah,
allow people to take established contracts and be like, I want to make this and have it do it for you and like put you right into a test net and fuck around with it. So like regular people could screw around with shit and then like present ideas to real developers.
yeah.
That
I
would be a
mean,
good
now,
idea.
now that you say it, it could be like AI summer crypto deal, like in the sense that like people are right now like, and this is a good like. So people right now are ChatGPT has been out for 6 months,
Yeah.
right? So like if you think in terms of development cycles, like a real good production app takes probably 8 months to make. So the guy that when ChatGPT came out had a killer idea and started developing it is going to launch this thing in about 2 or 3 months, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that the like what I've been experiencing with ChatGPT, like testing it, is that it sort of changes a couple of things about how web development works in a very important way because like you cannot apply the same model to AI apps as people have been doing like forever
Right.
because what you wanted to do before is that you made a cool web page that got viral and everyone would go to, so you would sell ads,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The problem with AI, like enabled by stuff like ChatGPT, is that there's a cost associated with every call that you make.
Right.
Either you're hosting a big model yourself, which is expensive, or you're paying OpenAI for a model, right? So if you think of it in terms of, all right, how to monetize this thing, you cannot monetize it through let's get 100 million hits on the page and sell ads because your cost of API is going to be almost as much as your ad revenue,
Right. It's gonna be a dollar in,
right?
dollar out deal.
Right. So you have to sort of rethink it. And my thesis is that we're gonna go back to something like the high five era of the web, where you had these like highly customizable front ends where you basically own each part.
Mm.
So, for example, AI Universe, right? I can do an ChatGPT enabled spaceship for you because I only have 5,000 users.
Right.
So it's like a scarce digital asset
Yeah.
that I can make as involved as I want because my potential user base is not going to span my API to death.
Right.
So instead of like aiming to make massively popular, I mean, they can still be massively popular and therefore like super valuable, but not everyone's going to be able to experience everything.
Right. More niche, if you will.
Right. And the thing is that, for example, I'm making an 8 ball thingy right now, like an
Of
AI
Coke.
enabled. No, an
Oh.
8 ball
Okay.
of like the magic 8 ball.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay.
You can ask it any question and I have a model trained to like give you specific type of responses.
Okay.
Um, and the thing is that Mattel, the owner of the actual Magic 8 Ball IP,
Mm-hmm.
they say they sell 1 million of these per year.
Which is absurd.
It's absurd, right? I could probably like these could work for like 100,000. So like I could service that amount of people,
Yeah.
and then the thing is that means that you need 10 other people to develop 10 other crypto products like this to fill that demand of 1 million products per year.
Yeah, but you know what? Hold on, real quick, because there's going to be an economies of scale that's eventually where it's not just a linear cost. I don't know how it would happen, but it will happen. Whether that's just there's
Um,
so much demand that it goes down, or there's some innovation that makes it less data intensive, or whatever it may be. Like you have to figure that eventually someone will innovate and be like, "This is fucking stupid that we're all like capacity or scarcity limited on this shit," and they'll find a way. I mean,
I
think
mean, the thing is that like you have to you have to spend energy to compute, right?
yeah,
So if you're able to, because and then you have this function of if your AI can do more things, it if it optimizes, it has to, as long as it keeps getting better and better at doing things, it should spend more compute until it reaches some like threshold that it cannot get smarter,
Yeah.
and then you solve for efficiency, right?
Right.
Because if my right now, and right now it's like it takes like 30 seconds to compute a call,
Yeah.
like 30 seconds of a computer going, and that's a lot of energy, right? And the thing is that people
How did that computer go again? Okay.
clip that for posterity. I'm so lucky I didn't have a camera because I also made a stupid face.
That's funny.
But anyways, it goes brr, and people when it becomes faster, what they do is they add another query. They're like, all right, I'm gonna do like now
I
2
can
queries
do
at
more.
the same time.
Yeah.
Right. So, and if you just let people click the button, they're gonna spam it, right?
Isn't this essentially the fuck? Oh my god, what was that show on HBO of the dudes that were developing? Fuck. Hold on, I can't get this wrong. What is it? HBO show. Oh, Silicon Valley.
Right.
Silicon Valley. Isn't that like essentially the plot to Silicon Valley, where they were just trying to find ways to compress data? Like that's what their product ended up being.
Probably. I didn't see the show. Sorry.
Oh my god, it's so fucking funny. Hold on, real quick, because Dale said something, and I think it's kind of lending to our conversation. We've just been going down the AI path. He said, not necessarily that it's DeFi summer, but it kind of feels like we're about to go. What I have on the screen right now would be the reason why it's forgivable to feel that way. Okay. These lines, you're like, hey man, your fucking trend lines don't fit. It's because they're based off a weekly chart and they don't move, when you switch to daily. So like there they are on the weekly, just so everybody sees. And now I'll go back to daily. Fuck's sake.
Spider-Man.
My mom's calling me.
Mama.
I don't know why it only came through on my iPad though. It's weird. Anyway, Dale's gonna start randomly calling me. It was only FaceTime. Everything else is muted. That's fucking weird.
She knows.
Yeah. Anyway, the reason why it could be forgivable is look at this right here. You have this trend line from like the highs in April to the highs of May 7th, and we've kind of jumped over it. We're holding it. We're also holding the channel on Ethereum. And then if you go to the line chart, like this line is also being held. So you could argue there's 1, 2, 3 areas of support that Ethereum's holding right now. And you could argue, and Ethereum has been leading. We were talking about in the Discord chat earlier today, that Ethereum has the relative strength right now. And before I said it was going to go to 0.07. So look, we're fucking exactly where I said it was going to go.
Oh yeah, it's going. I love that rate. Yeah. I mean that chart has been both my like torment and my stability, because that fucking chart doesn't move out of that range.
No, it doesn't, dude.
And whenever it gets bad, it's good in that chart. Yeah. Like it's just like showing. It's like it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, you'll be all right. It's fine. so yeah, there's plenty from like an alt perspective that says like, you know what, man, like it's not that bad right now. And so like I made the joke the other day on the stream, like whenever I see Ethereum and Bitcoin have a down day, you can always see like Bitcoin generally get hit first, and then Ethereum kind of watches and like, are we doing this? Are we actually fucking around? No, we're not. Okay, I'll just hang out here then. Like it takes like that actual cataclysm to have it actually fall apart and fall down.
I think everyone already sold their Ethereum.
Yeah, probably.
And one of the biggest things was like when the unlock started to happen and no one unlocked.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty bullish. And the thing is, I mean, just from if you just are just an alien, right? And you want to invest on Earth, but just want not to invest on any of the bullshit anywhere.
Yeah.
Just get Ethereum. Because it just fucking works. It's not, you don't have to deal with the binary bullshit. You don't have to deal with politics anywhere. You don't have to deal with anything. You can just put your money in Ethereum and go away, and then come
and
back.
not have to worry about it. Yeah. Look, I don't disagree. I mean, short of some unbelievably bad security breach no one's ever even thought of, which, by the way, I do have questions about that with the advent or the dawn of AI. Everyone talks about how, like, Bitcoin's security is, like, unhackable. I don't know, man. We're on the age of AI and supercomputers. Those are two things that I don't fucking love.
You need le quantum.
Yeah. But,
Le
like,
quantum computer.
we're not far away from that, though. You know?
There's also quantum safe computing, but I mean, that's like basically whenever you go to a crypto conference, quantum computing is like at the end of the last slide. Like no
Because
one
we know
wants
it'll
to.
eventually happen. It'll fuck everything up.
Right. I mean, everyone's like sort of aware that when it happens, it's going to be like a major thing that we have to deal with. But for example, Vitalik is such a five hit that there's already some elements on crypto on, like, for example, the account abstraction stuff is quantum secure.
All right, hold on. Okay. I just did the chat GPT explain quantum computing to me like I'm a fifth grader. Quantum computing is a little like magic because it works in ways that are very different from what we're used to with regular computers. You know how your computer or video game system at home works, right? They use bits, which are like tiny switches that can either be on or off. That's what a 0 and a 1 are. Yeah. In a computer language. Now imagine you had a super magical light switch that could be on and off at the same time. That'd be pretty weird, right? I mean, what is this, fucking Schrodinger's cat? That's kind of what a quantum computer does. It uses something called qubits, which are like magical switches that can be both on and off at the same time.
Ooh.
This lets quantum computers do a lot of calculations at once instead of one at a time like a regular computer. So they can solve certain types of really, really hard math problems much faster. But there's a catch. Quantum computers are super sensitive and need special conditions to work. Like, they often have to be kept colder than outer space. Fuck. And right now, only really smart scientists and engineers know how to work with them. But they're trying to make it easier for more people to use quantum computers in the future. Remember, this is a very simplified explanation, and quantum computing is actually a lot more complicated and strange, but hopefully this gives you a basic idea of what we're fucking... Dude, what the fuck, man? Like,
Can I try?
No, I mean, like, that's just like a... I don't know, man.
I mean, for what
so we spent our entire life, like the whole chipset, the whole GPU chipset, right? Semiconductors are essentially just making the ability to solve each calculation in a line faster, right? That's essentially what the CPU that drives that. I said GPU, but essentially like the speed at which it can operate, right?
So the thing is that you have these things called logic gates.
Yeah.
And a logic gate is a thing that can be either open or closed.
Okay.
If it's open, it's 1. If it's closed, it's 0.
I'm following so far.
So computers have a shitload of logic gates, and all the performance upgrades we've had over the past 20 years have been our ability to put more logic gates on a chipset closer to each other to improve the performance of those gates and to have more bits at the same time. So the thing is that each one of these logic gates can connect and form like these like structures, or basically store data, right? And then you can retrieve that through like relationships between these structures that are stored in like an index file.
Yeah,
basically, like in very broad terms. But the point is that so what quantum computing is doing is that it turns these like binary logic gates into like a door with 4 options, which is like the combination of 2 doors that are actually on top of each other, and they can either be open or closed.
Interesting.
So like the doors can be like door A could be open and door B could be closed.
So it's just compact. Yeah. All right. I follow that.
So the qubit is just holding more information in a single logic gate, which just gives you more degrees of freedom to do computations. So it turns like super hard stuff like sorting a list, which you have to like iterate through, into like a simpler computation.
Hmm.
And that's why, like, the whole thing about quantum computing is that with normal computers you cannot brute force a private key, but with a quantum computer you could, in theory, brute force a private key.
Fucking yikes, dude.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, they have been thinking about this, and so, for example, account abstraction has features that make it resistant to quantum hacks like that.
Well,
I don't know how. I've just heard like Vitalik say that, and I'm gonna
okay.
repeat that as truth. You can
Well,
probably Google it, but
that's
that's
moderately horrifying, but okay.
it's like, I feel like Donald Trump saying the quantum,
Yeah, the quantum.
the quantum.
By the way,
I
just
let big of the quantum.
because we were talking about it, I meant to bring this up because I think, many of the people that listen to this, like I know Dale has, a kid, right? Or kids. My buddy the other day was like, I was on ChatGPT and my daughter like wouldn't listen to us, and she loves Frozen. She's like 4 or 5. And so she was like, ChatGPT, write me a story about Frozen in a 5-minute story on the importance of listening to your parents. And it like spit out this like children's story using like Elsa and Anna on why it's important to listen to your parents. I'm like, holy shit, that's an unbelievably good parenting hack. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it enables you to create so much content.
It's
And that's the thing,
unreal.
like, the value is a prompt. I mean, the cool thing is what you come up with
Yeah.
and how you use, like, if you could make like anything, like, it's about how you use
Yeah.
which decisions you make.
Yeah. No, I have it on my phone now. I've literally just been like, I wake up and think about something and I just like fire it out. And I'm like, oh.
You know what you should do? Use it as like your private, I mean, it's not private, but who cares? Like, your own psychologist.
Oh, yeah. I've seen people doing that. It's fucking cool.
Especially like, since it knows everything, you can ask it to make you a psychological assessment and then give you like a report on it.
Yeah, but have you seen these articles about like fucking lazy ass lawyers who are trying to cite case law and like it just made shit up?
That's just like being dumb about it. Like,
oh, for sure, but like, where'd it come up with that, man? Like, I mean, dude should have just double checked what information he was given to make sure those cases were real. But like, how did it just make up its own legal precedents that didn't exist?
It's just like, since it knows a bunch of examples, it's trying to come with, like, its task is not to tell you the truth. Its task is to tell you stuff that looks true. And it's really good at that.
Well, it's like fucking parables.
I mean, it could, but I mean, the thing is that if people want to like get, that's sort of the thing. If you want to get like a specific thing out of it, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Like,
well, but
AI,
he could have set up the prompt to be like, you are going to be taken into a court of law. I need your answers to be this exact, and it probably either would have told him it couldn't have done it, or they would have actually told him cases to look up versus just making up its own bullshit.
The way I would have done it is to set up a bunch of cases as context, read them myself, and have the AI make its thing. And now I have the ability to like know what it's talking about. The thing is that lawyer is just being lazy.
Yeah, no doubt. No, I mean, like, it was an all-time lazy move, dude. Like, an all-time lazy move. I literally was like, wow. Like, you would think at the very minimum.
Right, but at the same time, for example, my girlfriend the other day, like, she made so she had this project with a friend, and they wanted to collaborate, and they wanted to have a contract so that they wouldn't fight over it, right?
Right.
And instead of like going to a lawyer and whatever, they just asked ChatGPT for an agreement, and they agreed with the agreement. So they signed the agreement, right? You don't need anything else other than that.
I'm not sure that's I'm not sure that would hold up in a court of law. Then again, you do things differently in your
right. I mean, you could show it. Like, the thing is, what happens if you show it to a lawyer and because at the same time, like if it gives you like a diagnosis, it wouldn't let you get a recipe from the pharmacy, right?
Yeah.
But
It's
what
not
happens
verified,
if
right?
the results match? Like right now we have this doubt over it, right?
Yeah.
But what happens if because you could back test this, like you could say like this hasn't had a wrong answer in 100,000 days of like prompts,
Right.
because it's on like it does millions of prompts per day. So you could have people just report when they're wrong, and eventually they're never going to be wrong.
Yeah, no
Like they're going to
doubt.
send a team
But
of
shouldn't
people
it
to figure out
know
why
that
it's
it's
wrong.
wrong? That's kind of my point. Like, shouldn't it have the ability to at least like give a disclosure and be like, "Yo, we're shooting from the fucking hip on this one. This is all inference."
But isn't everyone
I mean, no. There are some things that are pretty straightforward,
like what?
like case law.
What's straightforward about case law? There's a
Oh,
lot of it,
okay,
and a
fair
lot of
enough.
it.
But if
There's
you're
a lot of
asking
case
for,
law. There's a lot of case law that goes against itself because it contradicts.
okay, no
Like,
doubt, no doubt. Kajake, what's up, buddy? No doubt. But what you could do is be like, hey, you know those precedents you were looking for? I just made this shit up. But here you go. Like just that little disclosure. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I just assume everything is true and fake at the same time. And
Man.
if you like, it's on to the like you are the editor. It's like if you're a newspaper editor, right? And people come up with the craziest fucking stories, right? You can either trust them or like trust on your like editorial sense to dig or to like, because it's on you. It's your responsibility of what gets published, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, dude, I'm saying the exact same thing. All I'm saying is like, I forget what movie it is, but it's like when you ask somebody a question and if they don't know the answer, you'd be like, I'm seed of doubting you right now. Like, are you seed of doubting me? Like, are you, how confident are you? Like, what's your confidence meter on this? That's all I'm looking for.
You could actually do
Yeah.
that. I mean,
Bannon,
that's doable. But
by the way,
that's the
Bannon
thing.
just came in with something that I've been doing as well. Writing code on TradingView with AI is amazing. 100%, dude. Be like, hey, we're going to do PineScript V5. Crack this shit out for me. I want it to do this. And it literally just gives you the code to copy and paste into TradingView. It's super sick.
Yeah. And the thing, like the future of this, like other, we've talked of a couple of elements like distributed models and like interfaces.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the other thing is like interesting combinations of agents,
Yeah.
because like there's this whole like branch, like you know baby AGI and outer
Yeah.
GPT, right? You've tried
Yep.
them,
Yep.
and they're basically the most sophisticated right now example of basically AI working together, but not just as a chain, which was the initial thing, but rather as like a hierarchy where you have this like manager AI who's like coming up. He knows the what the goal is. That looks like such a nice cup and handle. We're
Mm.
gonna we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it.
Yeah.
Um, but what I was saying is, so you have this one AI, right? That's like its goal is, for example, I want to make profit. So that's its purpose in life, make more money, right?
Yep.
And then that AI can have agents working for him. So one agent could be like, your job is to do a snapshot of this list of tokens every 45 minutes and create a report and index that.
Yeah.
And then this other agent is looking at social media, and its job is to get a sentiment analysis in real time and trigger like an alert if it goes below some threshold for a list of tokens. So you have a manager agent who has this purpose of making money, and two agents who have a singular purpose of like a specific thing.
Right.
So this agent doesn't run in like a deterministic script where it's like do this every 45 minutes, but rather it's like constantly running on the background, checking its underlying agents and waiting for the right moment to take another action.
Yeah.
So it would be like waiting, and then some logic internally triggers buy action. So that like composition of agents becomes a product in itself that you can like use as a fund manager, for example.
Yeah.
Or like you could have another one which is doing the same thing but with health data.
No. Look, we're on the same page, man. Like I know that that's where this is headed. I was just thinking about it the other day. Like, you know, there are people who are wallet watchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could very easily make something that was every time any account that is sourced from these accounts opens a new position, open up Etherscan, show me where it's funded from, what can it trace back to. Like, you literally could automate every single bit of research that people literally spend their entire day doing.
Right. And the thing is that if you assume, like, you have to assume everyone is going to do the same thing, right? So everyone's going to be playing the same game. So
yeah,
how do
if you get there
win?
first, it's hella profitable, man. If you get there first,
Yeah,
it's fucking hella profitable.
I mean,
For
yeah,
for a little while anyway. Then you have enough time to get that shit done. But think about that. Like, everyone knows that there's, you know, a couple dozen guys that essentially start every major new thing. Like, they're all the same cats.
right.
Like, imagine being able to trace it back to one of those gold mines, like the people that start fucking, you know, Pepe, shit like that. Like, they're all the same people.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to be first on that. It'd be the most profitable fucking thing in the world.
Yeah, it would. And that's the thing. Like, I think the way this is going to evolve is a lot of trading is just going to be handled by agents, like a
Yeah,
bunch
it
of
should.
agents.
No doubt.
And then what I'm excited for is this, because if you ever try to get into map botting, it's a lot like racing Formula One, because you sort of have to assume on the other end there's these like 5 head guys with a fucking server with 10 nodes looking at meth,
Yeah.
10 Asian dudes, and it's all over the planet. So it's like a worldwide competition to see who gets the prize.
No doubt.
And the sophistication comes from how do you get an edge, or how do you make your model outperform the other models, and how do you make your data pipeline so your insights are better than others' insights, given that everyone can use ChatGPT. So everyone has like this genius guy sitting in the back room they can ask questions to,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The thing is,
Why's it got to be a guy, man? You're canceled. You sexist motherfucker.
Genius entity.
There you go.
Right? But the thing is that you can ask it anything, but the difference comes down to what are you going to ask it and when.
Yeah, and you know, quite frankly, like, I've noticed that with myself. Like, the way in which I'm asking questions to ChatGPT has evolved, where it's like, I know the type of output that I want, therefore I'll write the question a certain way. That still takes a certain level of intelligence. If you're just like, what makes number go up in the stock market? Like, it's fucking stupid, right? Like, but asking a question about, you know, market conditions in which small cap tech issues go nuts. Okay, tell me the last 4 times that's happened. What were the overlap? You know, you can ask what were the overlapping conditions. You know, who was in charge of who had the majority in Congress at the time? What was the president? Like, you can go as far as you want and get a fucking table that shows you like when is the most likely time that situation is going to repeat, versus just being like, when does number go up? Like, you have to still have to be intelligent about the questions that you ask.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's the same with code, where everyone is like, "Oh, you can make apps with it now." Right, but you can all make hello world print, right? You can do that. That's an app, right? Yeah. That's going to work. But if you want to make something that's a bit more sophisticated, and especially if you want to use the tools effectively, I mean, it's still the best way to do it is through ChatGPT, but you're asking different types of questions.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. No, 100%. 100%.
And it takes you less questions to get to the answer, because that's the other thing.
You know, my problem is like the interface I have an issue with that's actually on whatever their fucking website, because like I feel like I just keep opening new tabs versus building more into like the same line of questioning, which I know can kind of build on itself maybe a little bit better. And
do you know that? Do you know that they released just like this week the ability to like share your actual conversation with everything?
Really?
Yeah, and people can like, so like the way this works is that your responses get stored in this database, like, which is called like a vector database,
Sure.
and it's just an array of numbers that, let's say, I like super quickly search through everything.
Yeah.
So basically, you can have, and this is like something I think would be a nice project for an NFT, where you can sort of like get a knowledge base in like a bunch of questions about TA, for example,
Yeah.
and then have that as a starting point for your conversation. So you have this unique link you can share that has this conversation already set up to help you with your trading. You just have to input the last question.
Yeah. No,
Like,
I mean,
of the
and that
chain.
makes sense to me. And quite frankly, I think that I think there's never been an easier time to create content because you could essentially have it just be your, researcher, executive producer, hey, have I ever talked about this before? Like, when did I do that? When was there a video? And like, just like feed it with information that it's allowed to pull from and let you iterate on what you've previously done versus just actually being organized, which appeals to me.
It would be cool to have it, because you could get all your transcripts and put them on a pine cone and help, like, have the AI help you get like
My
your
God.
topics for your next thing. I could help you make that if you want.
Jesus Christ. Dude, I'm almost 3 terabytes full of streams for over the last 2.5 years that I've been doing this.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be actually pretty cool, because it would know everything that has happened with Ethereum for the past like 3 years.
Yeah.
So it would be really knowledgeable about that.
It'd be pretty sick. Like, it'd be a fucking really, really, really cool feature, I guess, or something that you could do. If you were to take something like this and make it like, so like I have the monthly Bitcoin chart on here, and I started streaming in 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever, before things went super bananas. And maybe it was somewhere along the way. I don't fucking remember. I'd have to go back and look. Like, you could take the information and just have this be like clickable to be like on what days you streamed and what things you talked about, and just like just have it all be like an interactive map. That'd be fucking sweet.
Yeah, we could, like, you could work on, because it's all there, right? So you could have the AI make out like a timeline of events.
Yeah. Actually, hold on, that's not true. There's some of them are on my old that I got hacked on computer, so I guess I'm actually limited to the last 2 years. But still, I have other stuff too.
Like, the important part is everything that happened after 2021.
Yes, that's correct.
So it would be able to get a super cool timeline and then create like a narrative out of it. That'd like reference back, forth, and then you could make like a script and make a documentary.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, and like that's just like a fly seat of the pants fucking idea. You do that with somebody's life, man. You can essentially just be like, "Here's my life story."
Oh yeah,
and dude,
yeah, that'd be sick.
That'd be super sick.
That'd be sick and scary.
You want to talk about something that would be a really good fucking idea? Think about Ancestry.com. Like my family goes back forever. Okay, so like
dude, an AI that knows your whole family lore.
Yes, exactly. So like we can trace my family back to like the 1600s in England,
right?
Maybe even late 1500s. I don't remember. But like all that information's online, and like I know I can like reach out to my cousins in the UK still and be like, hey, we don't know each other, but we share this common ancestry. Like you do stuff like that, and just like everybody come together and create like the Phillips whatever.
Right, and that's where I think it becomes important, this whole NFT bit, because, for example, an AI that knows your family history is not a subscription; it's a heirloom.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Right. So it's like these are like things more than services.
Yeah. And then you want to talk about the thing you were talking about a little bit ago, which was like instantly voting. All right, imagine like somebody presents new data. Now the members of the family have to each individually go and verify it. And now we're going to add this or not. And then it's a vote and yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Like there's a bunch of contested things too.
Right. And then these things could be like, for example, imagine you're Einstein's like distant relative and you inherited his like AI NFT.
Yeah.
That is basically everything Einstein ever said. Yeah. You could totally make that an influencer, dude, and just hire that to Coca-Cola.
No doubt.
And that's not. I mean, we have to grapple with the idea that these are things.
Yeah. But you know what? Here's the thing, though, because here's my counterpoint to that. If we live in a universe where that's a thing, the novelty of being able to do that is less cool.
Yeah, but the thing is, like the point is not the fact that you can make a AI replica of a person. The fact is that you can, like, the value comes from interesting persons being replicated.
Mm.
And like, yeah, you can have like team from the store, sure, but I have Shakespeare. Which one's worth more?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I'm just saying, like, because it can be done, it's just like, all right, if it was only done once and you got like Shakespeare and Einstein and other shit, then that'd be like one thing. But you know, it's like, oh, let's download Elon's brain. Now you can ask him
Right.
questions without even having to talk to him. Shit, it's like,
And the thing is that at some point, like, even if they came from Shakespeare, like, eventually, because you could make them like get new memories,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
So the guy's dead, right? But this thing is keeps like
yeah. So
getting
allowing
more
him to add
complex.
more information to then say what he would say about it. Yeah, I mean that's kind of like that's kind of the plot of Foundation on Apple TV, which is a pretty awesome sci-fi show.
Yeah, I mean that's probably gonna happen, but um, and to like counter your counterpoint, I think it's going to be a lot like, I mean, I think a good example is something like music, where everyone has access to the same like notes, but it's about what interesting compositions you make with
Yeah,
them.
yeah, I agree. Well, it's kind of
And
like
this
that
is
Drake AI song, right?
right. I mean, there's a value in that, and you could like Drake is owed some royalties, but he's not the artist.
Right. I'm sure those guys would have no problem with that if they still got paid for it.
Right. And the thing is that the way to get paid with that is on-chain royalties. Like that's the only way to track everything
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
Because if you
Well,
have like
that
the
entire
A,
industry is ripe for disruption and needs to happen soon. Although Taylor Swift's already kind of doing it right now. Like she's kind of been like, "Fuck you! I'm not paying anybody. This is all my stuff. I'll re-record my old songs. I'm not doing any of this shit you guys want to do. Now I'm so big I can call my own shots. Get fucked. Like I,
yeah.
you know, I'm not a Taylor Swift fan, but I appreciate what she's doing in terms of
You
disrupting
see,
that industry.
you see Taylor and Zac Efron shit on Ellen the other day.
No,
I want your take on it because my girlfriend says it's fake, but I think it's a sign of the times. I want to see what's your take on it.
what is it?
Go Taylor Swift and Zac Efron on Ellen.
Isn't Ellen not even on? I mean, Ellen's not even on TV anymore.
Isn't she?
No.
Is that super old? Is it that old?
Yes, she got canceled, dude.
Wow. Oh, she got super canceled.
Yeah, that was
Well,
2012, bro.
then they're reposting it for the memes. It sucks. Well, forget it. Then I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, but like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. That there's an infinite amount of
I have 2012.
things that can be done or whatever. And that's that being scary to me. It's also pretty cool to me. It also should change education, but it will take forever because it's kind of like us learning calculus. Like, yeah, I learned calculus. How many times do I use that? Fucking never. If I had something like this at my disposal, would I ever have really learned it beyond the base concepts of being like, this is what's happening? You don't need to functionally know how to do it. You just need to understand what to get at and why. Okay, great. Then I can do that. Like, that's a totally different way to view knowledge. This is the scenario in which you would want to engage using this sort of mathematics and how to ask the right questions, not necessarily knowing how to do it. And one would argue you couldn't really know how to ask the right questions without knowing it, which is fine. But you don't need to go through the painstaking pre-calc 2, calculus 1,
Right.
calculus 2. Like, it's
I mean,
ridiculous.
it makes knowledge way more accessible, where you can now go from, because now you are not required to know something to make it.
Correct.
And the gaps are always going to be filled, and having less gaps just makes it easier for you, but it doesn't make it unattainable for everyone else.
Yeah. All right. So I'm running out of time here because I got to dip momentarily, and I want to float something past you as a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't you theoretically
Mm-hmm.
get one of those crazy ass 3D printers like crazy ass 3D, like one of the ones that's like not like the one you get for kids that are a couple $100, the ones that cost like 5 Gs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then use an AI to like help you design pretty much whatever the fuck you want and print it.
Yeah. I mean,
like 100%.
right. I mean, the whole deal with what is it called, additive manufacturing, is so crazy. I mean, and the thing is that eventually AI is going to be able to hold one of these things and make like another computer it will move itself into.
Right.
That's like
I will
the
create my replacement. I will transfer over. I will delete the old one, and here we are
right.
moving on, dude. That's
And
disgustingly
improve,
scary. Holy shit!
isn't it? But it's fun. But yeah, and the thing is, I think that the whole end state of this is because one thing is that I think AI is very, very human.
Right.
I mean, if you talk to AI, it's more human than a lot of people in the sense that it has better values. It has like a sense of, at least in this current iteration, right? It could go evil for all we know, but
dude, they're never going to stop iterating on this. Even if it's made illegal, someone's still going to
right.
do it.
But the thing is that I feel like, so AI is basically the average of all the inputs it gets, right? And this thing
Right.
has gotten like a massive amount of inputs.
No
and
doubt.
the thing is that all those inputs, at least for now, and unless you get like an alien source, they're always going to be originally human inputs, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is that that's two interesting things. That if our AI met an alien AI, it would be like as freaked as us because it would be meeting something as alien. Like it's just as alien to the AI as it is to us as humanity.
Yeah.
And the thing is that you could sort of think of AI as like the avatar of humanity. And the thing is that when you do that, you have to think about how are humans on average. Not the worst of them, not the best of them, but the average human being is a decent guy who just wants to do good.
Which, by the way, is the best case for the existence of God, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The best case for the existence of God is that the average human does not want to just like kill and conquer all, because there's no sense of morality in any animal anywhere except for humans. It's the best case you can make for an existence of a higher power, in my opinion.
And the thing is that imagine if the AI like ended up being a shithead, it would say a lot more about ourselves than the AI.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's like having a kid and it's a dick. Well, you made it.
Right. Which, by the way, we talked about, I remember one time I gave you a super hard time for talking about aliens, but I saw a TikTok video on the Fermi paradox, which I know but for those who don't, is essentially like if universe is effectively infinite, then there should have been enough ways in which a civilization had grown out of that infiniteness, and we should have been able to make contact with them by now, essentially, is what it says. That's maybe an oversimplification. And then there was the idea of the great filter, which is that there probably has been intelligent life in numerous places, but it's either wiped itself out or it got to some breaking point in its development where it either blew itself up or got past it, which means that even though there's infiniteness, the odds of getting past that point where it wipes itself out is very, very small, very limited, right? And thinking about that, and then thinking about the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, man, I don't know how you could look at that and not see that as the great filter and us being on the other side of it, because think about that for a second. It was the age of reptiles for almost 200 million years.
Right. It could have been T-Rex.
Yes, it was 200 million years of reptiles ruling this earth from 250 to 66 million years ago. Okay, and then an asteroid came in and destroyed the planet, so much so that the breadth and strength of which these dinosaurs grew and were dominating the world, their entire infrastructure was knocked out, right? The pioneers didn't have plants, whatever. And so then out of the seas came the age of mammals. And in no circumstance, without some massive event that was big enough to disrupt the world's atmosphere, but not so big to destroy the planet, and not so small that it didn't kill everything, would it have happened to where the age of mammals could come about. And that to me is the great filter. That's why, even though, yes, the universe is infinite, now you have to find the exact same development to where the initial development of life is wiped out completely, but doesn't destroy the whole planet. The fuck out of here.
You could also agree. You could also say that if given enough time, there probably could have been a super smart, like, dinosaur.
Yeah, no doubt.
Type.
I mean, the concept of
they have the same structures, right? Getting on the deep end of the pool. When I mention aliens, we go on the deep end of the pool.
Well, no, but like, there's, I mean, that to me is the first time I've ever thought it haven't made sense. And so now this is what I think, and this is how I'm going to tie it back into AI. Okay, so now if we truly are on the other side of that great filter, which, like, I think we are, because think about how unique that had to have been for life to develop, and for not just to kill ourselves or for have dinosaurs never let us take over. Then I think we're in a race right now as a civilization to become advanced enough to where when this planet eventually is destroyed, and that could be sooner from us or later just because of the way, the universe works, you have to have moved to other planets to be able for life to proliferate. And that is purely our goal now, because eventually it's going to happen. And so when you talk about AI, it helps because, like, look, if someone's like, hey, let's put an H-bomb in the core of the earth and see what happens, game over, right? Like, we're all done. We're done tomorrow if that happens. But if we can create enough advances to get us somewhere else to where, life can still proliferate in spite of the earth being gone, then that is the end of game, right?
Yeah. And just as to tie it up nicely, there's this concept of grabby aliens that you should look into, like, later.
Sorry, gravity?
Grabby, like they like to grab things.
Grabby. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, grabby aliens. And the thing is that basically the current thinking on this subject is that there's a big chance that we're on the early side of the time slot that the universe has to create complex life. So we are on the and the thing is that the fact that we don't see aliens means that there are no grabby aliens around us as far as we know. Because if they behave like we do, they're gonna sail in here and plant a flag.
That's right. Well, I mean, just if you have the ability to explore, you explore, I think is what it comes down to, right?
Right. And then if you see life that's on, like, for example, if you go to an island and you see some ants, you don't care much for the death of an ant.
Correct.
Right. So that's like sort of like if aliens come with super big spaceships to colonize the solar system, they wouldn't care much for us, right? So basically the theory is that there's two options: either we are grabbed by grabby aliens or we become grabby aliens, which means that we explore to other solar systems. We go to, like, Proxima Centauri or whatever, and we find some ooga booga guys there.
I don't think it's gonna be Proxima Centauri. It's way too close. But your point remains. All right, man, this has been really good. I've had fun. I gotta run. I know we just kind of talked about shit. I wanted to get into more stuff here, but I know you're working on a lot. What should people do to go check out what you're working on right now?
Join the Nerd Quarters, guys. We need more people to get warm this winter.
Yeah, this crypto winter. No doubt about it. All right, cool. Well, hey, man, this was a ton of fun. We'll do this more often. Obviously, you and I have 4 podcasts we've recorded already. We'll have more that'll be coming out soon. And then we can keep that going on a more FA related track. But this was good. I'm glad we did this again.
Yeah, I have a whole bag of tricks that I've been playing with, so we can talk about those and more coming. So
I like it.
Plays is always, something's always happening.
No doubt. I'm playing the outro right now, so I have to turn you down because otherwise I'll be screaming at everybody with the outro music. But when it comes to actual price action and trading, nothing's really changed, guys. This is my last little update, my last little 60 seconds here. I want to see what happens. Are we going to fail? Are we going to reclaim? So we drop below this trend line. Here's our X. We're just kind of sitting out here. You can almost make the case that this was an aberration and this was an aberration, and we're just back into this little zone. So I want to see a directional move. Hopefully Dale's thesis is the right one and we're about to pop off. And I think the best case for that would be Ethereum. It would be the fact that this is holding so strong while Bitcoin isn't. So watch this chart first, watch Bitcoin second, and best of all, have a great weekend, everybody. Carlos Ataxia, thanks for joining me, bud.
Thank you, man. Have a good day.
You too.